Brian Schottenheimer is officially under fire. And it's not just from the media. The Dallas Cowboys fan base is coming for his head after that ugly performance. But instead of backing down, Schotty stepped up to the podium, ready to go toe-to-toe with the critics, defending his defensive coordinator and trying to take control of the narrative. And look, I get it. As a head coach, you're supposed to shield your staff. You're supposed to be the face of the franchise and keep the locker room together. But man, there's a difference between leadership and deflection, and this press conference danced all over that line. Let's be real. This wasn't just a one-game disaster. The issues that showed up on the field, missed assignments, poor gap fits, non-existent containment on the edges, those have been lingering all season. And Schotty, he wants to sell us on the idea that this is just a 10 to 15% correction. Bro, where is that 85 or 90% of good football you're talking about? It didn't show up on Sunday. It hasn't shown up in weeks. And if that was just a little tweak away from greatness, then I must be watching a different game than this coaching staff. From the jump, Schottenheimer was defensive. Not just about the scheme or the execution, but about his own guys in the building. The moment a reporter even hinted at the team playing hero ball, Schotty clapped back asking for definitions, trying to control the narrative. Look, you can dress it up however you want, but when your defenders are abandoning assignments and freelancing because they're trying to overcompensate, that is hero ball. You've got guys blowing contain, jumping into the wrong gaps, and completely abandoning their reads. That's not just effort, that's panic. That's lack of trust in the system. And then there's the constant talk about eye discipline and simplifying reads for the linebackers. I get it. You've got some young guys out there trying to process a ton of information on the fly. But again, that's not new. That's not a surprise. That's coaching 101. If your players can't execute what you're asking of them 6 weeks into the season, that's not just a player problem. That's on the staff. That's on you, Schotty. You say your linebackers are slow to react, missing their triangle reads. Then change the teaching methods. Simplify the damn scheme. Because if you've got multiple guys thinking instead of reacting, you're not playing defense. You're setting up to get embarrassed. He tried to point out positives, like Shamar James leading the team in tackles, or a couple of almost turnovers, but that's lipstick on a pig. Yeah, we saw Maris nearly punch that ball loose. We saw the effort. But this ain't a youth league where you get trophies for being close. This is the NFL. Almost means nothing. And it's especially frustrating because the offense, led by Dak Prescott, has quietly been balling out. Over the last 3 games, Dak has tossed 11 touchdowns with just 1 interception, and yet the Cowboys still found ways to lose. Why? Because the defense can't stop a nosebleed. That's why. Schottenheimer swears he's not hitting the panic button, but fans are already there. And what's frustrating isn't just the results. It's the lack of accountability. Every time the defense gets torched, it's back to this. We'll look at the tape. We'll make small adjustments talk. Nah, bro. The dam is leaking. This ain't time for Band-Aids. It's time to plug the holes before the whole thing collapses. And let's talk about communication, or the lack of it, on this defense. Players are straight up saying that confusion is leading to busted coverages. And Schotty, he's out here using the telephone game as a metaphor like this is recess. No, man. This is the NFL. If you can't get a call out clearly, that's not a cute little problem. That's the kind of issue that gets you fired. That's how teams give up 40 points in a blink. Then there's this whole idea of not wanting to share changes with the media. Like that's going to give them some secret edge. Schotty, nobody's asking for the full playbook. But if you're going to defend your guys and ask for patience, the least you can do is explain why we should believe change is coming. Because right now, it sounds like you're just hoping things get better without any real blueprint. And let's not ignore the question that triggered the room. Someone dared to ask if things would look different if Micah Parsons was still around. Schotty immediately brushed it off. But let's be honest, even with Parsons in the mix, this defense was getting cooked last year too. We watched Buffalo run wild. We watched Green Bay light up the scoreboard. And that was with Micah on the field. So no, he's not some magical fix to systemic problems. If your system needs one guy to be elite every single snap just to function, that system is broken. What's wild is how Schotty keeps saying he believes in the guys he has. That the solutions are in-house. That's fine. Confidence in your roster is admirable. But if you're going to talk like that, then results better follow. Because right now, it sounds like stubborn pride is keeping you from making the hard calls, whether that's demoting a coordinator, benching a veteran, or bringing in help. This whole, we're going to let guys compete, idea is cool until you realize the games still count, and you're running out of room for moral victories. And can we just take a second to talk about the offensive line? Earlier in the season, they ran for over 180 yards with backups in. Now, they get a couple of starters back and can't break 30? That's not just player execution. That's a scheme problem. That's a preparation issue. You had communication breakdowns up and down the line, misaligned combos, and backs with nowhere to go. That's a coaching problem, and Shoddy even admitted it. So at least there's that. But the part that's really starting to wear thin? The excuse-making. This constant need to say, we need to coach better, while also trying to sell us on how smart and prepared everyone is. You can't have it both ways. Either your staff is doing its job and the players are failing, or the coaching is the problem. But what we're not going to do is keep hearing about small tweaks when the defense looks this bad. You got gashed on the ground, blown out in coverage, and you're out here talking like the sky's not falling. Come on, Shoddy. You know what's crazy? Schottenheimer has been around this league long enough to know how this goes. You don't get many chances to get it right in Dallas. The fan base? They don't want excuses. They want results. And right now, that defense isn't holding up its end of the bargain. You got Dak out there playing some of the best ball of his career, and it's being wasted because your defense can't get off the field. That's what fans are mad about. Not because they don't like you. Not because they're impatient. But because they know what they're seeing isn't good enough, and it hasn't been for weeks. And here's the thing. Schottenheimer's message feels like it's stuck somewhere between optimism and denial. He talks about fundamentals, about hand placement, gap fits, leverage, and all those little coaching points that sound great on paper. But when you flip on the film, it's not a matter of missed fundamentals. It's a lack of physicality, of urgency, of guys simply not executing at a professional level. That's not something you solve with more drills or a few extra walkthrough reps. That's culture. That's accountability. And that's leadership from the top down. It's also wild that in the middle of all this, Schottenheimer still tried to prop up the defense like it's one of the league's top units, just having a bad month. He kept referencing the idea that the players are pressing too much because they care, that they're shooting gaps or missing fits because they want to make a play. And again, that sounds noble, but that's not a real excuse. Every defense in the league is made up of guys who care. What separates great defenses from bad ones is discipline, structure, communication, trust. If your guys are trying to be superheroes on every snap, it means they don't trust the system or they don't trust the guy next to them to do his job. Either way, that's a reflection of coaching. And the players know it too. The body language says everything. There's a clear frustration on the field. You see it after missed tackles, after chunk runs, after the third down conversions pile up. You see guys looking around, arms up, like, what the hell just happened? That's not just about effort. That's about confusion. That's about a lack of clarity. And when you get to that point mid-season, it's a bad sign. It means either the scheme is too complex for the group you've got, or the way it's being taught is completely off. Neither of those is a good look for a staff trying to sell belief to a fan base that's already running out of patience. And look, it's not just about the defense being bad. It's about the impact it's having on the entire team. The offense has to play perfect football just to keep up. Dak is being asked to carry the team with zero margin for error. He's throwing dimes, running the offense efficiently, taking care of the football, and it still isn't enough. When Schottenheimer says, "We've proven we can go 4 for 4 in the red zone," it's like he doesn't realize how unsustainable that is. No offense in the NFL is perfect every week. You can't build a game plan around perfection. You build it around balance, around complementary football. And right now, the defense is putting the offense in a position where anything less than perfect feels like failure. What makes this even more frustrating is that Shoddy keeps deflecting real answers. Every time someone tries to push him on what's really going wrong, he falls back into coach speak. We're looking at everything. We're watching the film differently. We're going to make adjustments. But he never actually gives any specifics. And when he finally does talk changes, he goes out of his way to say, "You're not going to see us go full man-to-man or change everything overnight." Cool. So then what are the changes? Because if we can't see them, and the players don't feel them, and the results don't show them, then they don't exist. And don't get me started on the turnovers come in bunches speech. That's the kind of line you throw out when you have nothing else to say. Turnovers are a byproduct of pressure, of anticipation, of playing fast and confidently. Right now, the Cowboys' defense isn't doing any of that. And you can run all the ball disruption drills in the world, but if your defensive backs aren't even close enough to contest a catch, then what's the point? Teams are dicing this secondary up with clean releases, soft coverage, and no fear of being hit. There's no fear factor, no intimidation, and that used to be part of this unit's identity. And yeah, I heard STUNS praising Matt Eberflus again, trying to pump up his guy, talking about how he's a great coach and how he's been there before, taking criticism and all that. But that's not what fans want to hear. This isn't about loyalty or protecting someone's legacy. This is about putting the best possible product on the field every week. And if your guy isn't getting it done, you either fix it or find someone who will. That's the job. That's what it means to lead a franchise like the Dallas Cowboys. You don't get to hide behind vague platitudes and coaching brotherhood when your defense is getting run over every week. At some point, the message has to change. Because this "we're close" stuff isn't cutting it. It's week after week of the same issues: soft run defense, poor tackling, communication errors, no juice off the edge, and no physical tone being set. And when you keep trying to sell incremental improvement in the face of getting embarrassed, it makes it look like you're not serious about fixing the problem. That's how locker rooms get lost. That's how fan bases turn on coaching staffs. That's how seasons spiral. You look at a guy like Shamar James. Yeah, he's flashing. He's got instincts. He's making plays. But even that's a double-edged sword. Because when your rookie linebacker is already your most active tackler 2 games in, what does that say about everyone else? What does that say about your veterans, your depth, and the preparation happening in that linebacker room? STUNS talks about how Maris brings violence and how they might use him differently going forward. Why has that not already happened? Why are these adjustments always reactive? Why are we always waiting for the film to tell us what everyone already saw in real time? Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. In a move that has set the NFL world buzzing, legendary wide receiver Jerry Rice has ignited a firestorm of speculation after making a surprising remark about the Dallas Cowboys. The Hall of Famer, long associated with the San Francisco 49ers and their historic rivalry with Dallas, reportedly made a comment that left fans and analysts alike scrambling for interpretations. "You never know what could have been if I had suited up in blue and silver," Rice said during a recent media appearance, a statement that instantly sent shockwaves through social media and sports talk shows. The remark, casual as it seemed, carried the kind of weight only Rice's words could. For decades, the 49ers Cowboys rivalry defined an era, with Rice himself delivering some of his most iconic performances against the team from Texas. To even hint at a hypothetical career with the Cowboys feels almost sacrilegious to San Francisco faithful, yet irresistibly intriguing to everyone else. Was it nostalgia? A subtle critique of his former team? Or simply the greatest receiver in NFL history stirring the pot for fun? Insiders close to Rice insist the comment was offhand, not a sign of any deeper agenda. Still, the Cowboys fan base has seized on the idea, flooding social media with edited images of Rice in the star-emblazoned helmet. Some even suggested that if he had played for Dallas during their dynasty years, the team's Super Bowl tally might be even higher. Others, particularly 49ers loyalists, called it blasphemy, accusing Rice of disrespecting the red and gold legacy he helped build. Regardless of intent, one thing is certain: Jerry Rice's words have reignited a classic debate about what might have been. As the NFL landscape continues to evolve and old rivalries are rekindled, Rice has once again proven he doesn't need to take the field to dominate headlines. Whether this was a playful musing or a calculated nudge, the echo of his statement is still reverberating across the league. For now, the rumor mill spins, and the question lingers: what if the greatest receiver ever had worn the star? That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.